remember all those plans we made. Turn out the light and come over here. I just wanna hold you and wipe away your tears. Don't worry, baby.
Hello and good evening. It's me. Alright, we're talking about turning the lights down low, wiping away a tear. It's the Agony Uncle session. He's back. Frank is with us. Let's give him a nice big round of applause. Live from the Algarve in Portugal. Olá, boa noite, tudo bem?
Boa noite, tudo bem? Você bem?
You seem in serious mood this evening, Frank. How are you? Where you been?
Yeah, I'm all business. I speak a little bit of Portuguese and you get all frazzled. What's wrong with you?
Nothing yet. All right. All right, you starting? Right.
Yeah.
We want to take your questions, don't we, about life in Portugal
Yes.
or
yes.
life in general. I mean, you're happy to broaden the scope of the conversation and take questions.
Scope it as far as you'd like to.
All right. So, for example, we'll come back to this. Don't answer it just yet. Hello. Hope it's okay to ask here. What's the equivalent of spray and cook here in Portugal, and where can I find it? I think you love questions like that. Don't answer it yet, though, Frank, if you don't mind. Okay. We've got a few announcements. Our dear friend Ben, you know Ben Austin. He's doing
beautiful
late. You might want to say what you expect from such an event. Strong Beers Festival in Coimbra. We might talk a little bit about that and the beer festivals here in Portugal. Also, International Chocolate Festival returns. Would you go to that? Would you stay between the 21st of March and the 6th of April? That's a long time for a chocolate festival, isn't it, Frank?
Yeah. Yeah, it's I don't know about the freshness levels at that point.
Freshness levels, okay. I imagine they're cooking and baking daily rather than serving the same chocolate they've made, fresh chocolate they've made on the 21st of March and serving it on the 6th of April. I don't know what the shelf life of chocolate's like. Is that part of your cooking repertoire, making chocolate?
Yeah, not making chocolate, but using chocolate in cooking, which could be in various dishes that at times people say, oh, I've never put it in that. Like I'll put it in a chili.
Yes.
I'll put chocolate in there. Because that's what the Mexicans put in there. Let's not forget it's a Mexican dish, so that's what they put in there. And where is a lot of the chocolate grown? So it's used. My thing with festivals like that is whenever you have a festival of chocolate,
yes,
it better be a festival of chocolate that's better than and does stuff that is better than anything else that is sold in that city. So like, let's say if I'm having a festival of chocolate in the center of town and I go over there, I taste all these different treats and whatever. But then when I go inside the city, I get to eat something even better. This is a problem because you've come to town saying, not that it's not about good or bad. You've come to town saying that you're going to do something different with chocolate and whatever. I better not see the same thing replicated anywhere around town, or on top of anything else, anything stale and someone kicking your ass. Because if that happens, that's a bad show.
So that they've set their own bar quite high and they better reach it.
They better reach it, and a lot of the times they can't because the promotion is one thing where they say, all right, chocolate festival or beer festival. So fine, why don't you just call it what it is? So we're offering chocolate and we're doing these different things, and just make sure that your audience knows you are doing something completely different that in this town nobody else is doing. So your audience knows what they're coming for, at least.
Yes. Okay. And the Portuguese are remarkable, aren't they, in their ability to cook in the most unusual circumstances. Medieval village, for one, middle of a field, on a beach. I mean, it's incredible how the Portuguese are able to cook in tiny spaces the most delicious food, which you'll see all around the country. So it's like an art form here, isn't it?
It's not only an art form, it's the way it is still cooked, because a lot of the traditional sweets like caramel, stuff like that, I believe they still do it in those copper pots. So the thing is, it's a technique they use, and it's the amount of space, as you said, they use. They sometimes don't even use any form of electricity or gas. It might just be like carvão or something
Yeah, right.
going underneath. So they do. So they do so many different things. From survival. It went to wow. I turned this into something far more beautiful.
Yes, absolutely. Right. I take it then you're still happy to be here. We got some catching up to do. It's been a while since you've been on the Good Morning Portugal
Yes,
stream. So
absolutely.
what you been up to? And I mean, some people, believe it or not, might not know who you are. It's been so long.
They don't. Oh, yeah, of course they don't. We used to do this very often. These shows, we used to get together at night. We used to. I think this is the birthplace of the man cave.
True
This
story.
is everything that happened during COVID.
Yep.
It was necessary at that time. It was something that was beautiful at that time because you would sit at home and chit chat with people. And even though it was a small crowd, it became a crowd of friends because what would happen is after that, you would call each other or you would have the hangouts because there was nowhere else to go. And it was amazing. So it's so beautiful for it to flourish in so many different ways. So yeah, it's been like what, 5 years, five and a half,
We
five and a half.
celebrate, I tell you, on Monday, 10th of March, it was our first official pandemic broadcast. So it's 5 years almost to the day.
Yeah, 5 years. So we've been I have been part of it from. I'm proud to say this. I've been proud of it part of it right from the beginning, and
Absolutely.
there hasn't been a light day since. I think it's we've done some good ones. We've done some doozies. We've done some. We've left some steamers behind, and then
Hopefully this
there have been the ones that were just shocking. So
okay.
we've done it all.
Let's see how it turns out tonight. So there you are, a vital part of the genesis of this endeavor. There for the wine club, there for the man cave. You've been on
Yeah.
the morning show with Frank guides to this and that, X, Y, and Z. And now I think is it fair to say you've reinvented yourself? This is like Madonna does. You are into a new your Picasso. You are into your next phase of Frankdom. And what is it?
All right. First of all, thank you for doing Madonna and myself in one frame together. This
Picasso.
is
How about
beautiful. It
I
worked.
mean, you're in good company. Madonna, Picasso, and Frank.
Madonna, Picasso, and Frank. I think it's the kind of company that. What can I say? I think whenever you're dealing with anything as far as Portugal is concerned, because I've lived in different areas of Portugal,
Yeah.
you have to not only reinvent because of the weather. What you have to do is you have to get used to the area, and then you've got when you've got Spain right next to you, 20 minutes around from you,
Yeah.
then life becomes there's a different dimension to life.
Mhm.
So I'm really enjoying living over here. I've seen Portugal's different seasons. I've seen Portugal's different flows, the food, the drink, the roasted pig, everything. And I find that it's allowed me to become very good at not only mimicking the language, because the more you mimic,
Yeah.
you start hearing yourself, and you start like kind of critiquing yourself. You say, I didn't do that right. So you hear someone say something, and then you say to yourself, you know what, I've got to say this right the next time, just like this old gentleman. And from mimicry, you start understanding the language a little bit, which I do. And after a few glasses of wine, I feel that I'm quite fluent in
And that's only
Portuguese.
what in 10 o'clock in the morning, right?
Yes, pretty much 10 o'clock in the morning,
Yes.
man. We've
Yeah.
done those shows, remember, with beer and Espumante, and
Yes.
we've spoken Portuguese fluently. If someone
Right.
goes back and looks at the records, we have.
Just back to where you started this part of the conversation. You're in Tavira, just to reiterate that. You're in the Algarve.
Tavira.
Okay,
Yes.
all right. Because somebody reminded me that you moved to Coimbra to be nearer to me, and I moved. And I want to. I don't think it was quite like that. It was Pete Bleach actually who said that. Do you remember when Frank moved to Coimbra to be closer to you, and you moved? It wasn't quite like that, was it? And is there any kind of beef left? Is there any residue that we need to get out into the open about that?
You see, the thing with you is that you do these like little sneaky things where you already plant something
Right.
into the conversation, which is by now famous, and it's an art form. This
Right.
is amazing. I get you. I completely get you. But yeah, the fact remains that I moved to Coimbra because we had a brotherhood thing that
Yeah.
we're going to do this together.
Yeah.
I'm going to be Coimbra, you're going to be there. We had some kind of a pact, and it's fine. Unbeknownst to me, you decided to leave the pact, or breaking is very dramatic. Let's just call it breaking.
Oh my God! So we're still not completely healed about that.
No. It's these are the kinds of wounds that, when they're so deep, what happens
Oh,
is
come on.
no, they are.
Oh God!
Wait. This is very deep. This
I
is.
didn't realize we needed like some kind of mediation expert here. So
We
maybe.
not only needed a mediation expert,
Oh,
what
well,
we actually needed is we needed a healing expert. And the
oh,
thing is, things heal through time and whatever. You kiss and make up, and it all
yeah,
works out. But
yeah.
yeah, do I carry that around on my sleeve? Do I always, when people meet me on the street and they go, "Are you the guy?" And I go, "Yes, I am the guy. I got betrayed." So
Oh
when that
no!
happens to me, yes,
I
I
kind
have
of wish.
to. I
I
have
wish
I
I
have no
hadn't.
other choice.
Yeah,
I have
yeah, yeah.
no other choice, my friend.
I wish I hadn't mentioned it. Right. Hello from Gemini.
Hello, Gemini Bradshaw. What's
I'm not sure.
is Gemini Bradshaw an actual person, or is
Yes.
this someone using a
For
pseudonym?
real. No, for real, for real. Um,
Or-
broken bromance. All right, coach.
All
We
right,
don't need you to
Coach.
be logged
How's it
in.
go? Coach is still lingering around. What are you doing? What kind of coaching are you doing at 10:30 at night? Shouldn't you be in bed?
Shouldn't you be in bed? There's your first bit of advice. We are ready. Now, Hugh Forestier Walker has some interesting views. Hugh, it is 11:15 on a Thursday evening. We're past the watershed. And the context is a little bit different to how it is in the morning. If there are things you want Frank to address, to discuss, to consider this evening, pop them into the chat and we'll give them a go. We've got a couple of questions already. The first was, and I'm sure you will have a view on this, where to buy spray and cook. I love these off the internet. If you see anything like this in the social media, internet, let us have them. And Frank will give a frank view, obviously, on them. And this question you might like to address. It's as though Coach Turner has been waiting for you. Good evening, you two. Great to hear Frank again. I agree. And my question, and I'll leave this entirely to you: when are Man United going to win a game?
This. Thank you very much. Thank you so very much. Because the slide has not. Oh, in bed. Oh, you're doing this there are so many other things you could be doing. It's the slide. If you may, if you may ask, Coach Turner, in bed. This is
Yeah,
the answer. The slide has been horrible,
yeah.
and I cannot see us winning. Not only winning, I see us getting relegated, and this will be very shameful, and it
Which
will
league
not
are
be.
Man United in now? Are they still in the Premier?
They're still in. Take it easy, Carl. Take it easy. Take it easy. All right. The slap doesn't have to be that hard. It could be a little, whatever. This
Little
is. It's
reminder,
still. It's
little
still.
alpha
It's still.
male.
It's
Just
still some form of a romance. Take it
yeah.
easy.
Okay. Sorry, go on.
So yeah,
Coach.
to your question, I don't see them because every time it's such a cringe-worthy moment, and every decision, every time I make the decision to watch my team, it's like most of my life decisions bad.
Oh, dear. No, come on, don't be too hard on yourself.
Yes.
Right, okay. So you don't. Oh, he can't brag. He's a Spurs fan. So we notably then, Man United have had some great Portuguese importation, but not on this occasion. Amorim not doing the business.
It's not Amorin's fault. It's what he has inherited. And then on top of it, what I want to mention, and I'm going to tick off a few British people over here.
Oh dear.
What I want to mention is, there was this choice when United, like, a piece of United, big chunk was being sold to be the leadership squad, or like, when the Glazers were selling, let's say, 49% of the team. The competition was between an Arab sheikh who basically said that I will come in, I will pay over the price, and I'll pay off all the debts, and we will immediately debt-free football team. You will immediately have your football stadium. You will immediately have everything. You will have an entire city built. Manchester would be beautiful. What they ended up doing is then came Jim Ratcliffe, and this is, maybe I should not use this element, but I will. This is the racist element of the entire thing,
Wow.
because what ended up happening is the team between these two elements got sold to a British lord or British sir called Sir Jim Ratcliffe, because he was going to come in, and how are you going to present the jewel of British football to an Arab sheikh, because he's already got one. They've already got one or two teams. How are you going to give it to a brown man, even though he's so rich? A
Oh,
brown man cannot earn
come
respect.
on.
I'm telling you. So what
Right.
ended up happening is they did that, and they gave this piece of royalty to Sir Jim Ratcliffe, who was going to run it like clockwork. And guess what we have? We have the same kind of results. They have, what in between, the serious talk is what they've done is there have been about close to 2,000 people who have had their jobs let go in Manchester. And these were like people who were connected with the team. They had small jobs. And the thing is, these were not the kind of jobs that were earth shattering. So, if they're saying cost cutting and stuff like that, it was never about that. What they've done is they've taken jobs out from the community, and it has just been horrible. So it's been these corporate bastards who have come in, and they
Ah,
have been let in to purchase this team, when there could have been a sheikh who would have come in, and he would have gotten, God forbid, another team. Because it's not that we don't have a Pakistani businessman who is running a team in the Fulham team, the very, very rich man. And I think Fulham, you can buy Fulham, you can buy Spurs. Oh no, sorry, you can't buy Spurs. And I'm not going to mention why. Um, you can buy Crystal Palace, you can buy Everton, you can buy all these other teams, but it will never happen with a team like Manchester United, because the crown jewel. It will always go this way. Better things could have happened to this team, but it did not.
okay. And you're blaming racism. Interesting. We're
Yes,
competing with
I am.
Patrick Christie's on GB News, apparently. Well, I think quite well so far. Given your rationale for Man United's lack of success recently, if I may refer to it as that. Interesting. Okay, so Hugh, you're being incredibly restrained, but perhaps what Patrick Christie's is talking about is quite extraordinary too. Are you familiar with the work of GB News, Frank? Do you ever see that?
Yes, the right-wing lunatics who sit around and come up with theories.
GBBs, also known as, which is what Hugh's.
Absolutely. Yes, sir. Of course I am. They do wonderful work, great campaigning, great virus spreading, beautiful jobs.
Okay, so the cooking quickie then, given that you have a fondness for being in the kitchen, creating as well as eating, it has to be said. Hello, and I lifted this off. I kept the author anonymous because it's only fair to do so. I hope it's okay to ask here. This was on a different group. What's the equivalent of spray and cook here in Portugal, and where can I find it? Thanks in advance, kind of question. What do you make of spray and cook? Well, first of all, what is it, Frank?
These disinfectant aluminum spray cans
Right, okay, yeah, a
that we
disinfect.
used to, remember those products like Baygon or whatever, which were used to, like, spray cockroaches and stuff like that,
Oh yeah,
whatever,
yeah, yeah,
or,
yeah.
or like whatever. So in
Raid,
that,
raid.
so in
Yeah.
that, yeah, so in that spray can, now you're going to have olive oil, or you're going to have some kind of edible oil, edible. oil that will be used because some lazy bastard did not want to just take some olive oil or some butter and put it nicely and work with that. So no, you have to spray the thing.
Okay, not good night, coach. Maybe see you in the morning. You sound like you got an extremely early start, even earlier than the GMP. Evening all from Jackie. I'm not sure you've had the pleasure of Jackie's acquaintance yet. Jackie, I'm sure we'll have some interesting questions for you about moving.
Go ahead, Jackie.
Now, hold on a minute.
You're welcome.
The spray and cook thing is an oil spray, isn't it? Now, some of them, to be
Sure
fair
is.
to the people who make them, hold on a minute. Early feedback. I love this guy. That's a good start, isn't it? It's a great start to any relationship. Very good.
Thank you, Jackie. I appreciate the compliment.
I'm going to leave that on the screen. Now, there are pump versions, aren't there, of these sprays, and which have been sold on the basis that you're using less fat because people were terrorized, weren't they, into using fat. And presumably you're up to speed with the seed oil thing at the moment. And previously, before that, the big cholesterol scam of people being made to eat, what was it, hydrogenated plastic margarine instead of butter. We've been through all of these things. Are you suggesting that spray and cook is a version of this health terrorism and isn't actually a bona fide and useful health product in the kitchen?
It's corporate creativity because they have to do something with, and you know, these oils, you can't even call them olive oil, whatever. These are residual oils, and it's like the residual oil in a Chinese stir fry pan. After the whole night, they've been putting all kinds of stuff in it, and by the end of the night, you take that, you put it in one of these cans. And you have to put some chemicals, of course, so that it actually comes out of the spray. And then you put a nice Lolita in there, or you put like Aunt Jemima, or someone who's a reliable, or someone who looks that they're healthy enough that they've been cooking for most of their life. And then you smiling, and that person comes up and sells this to you. And a lot of lazy bastards do this with their cooking. They don't appreciate what's in front of them, which is, look at where we are. If you're committing this crime in Portugal,
of using spray oil. Right, okay.
Spray oil. If you're committing this crime in Portugal, there is no excuse to let you in to any of our grocery stores, because I know which aisle you're going to go into. You're not going to find it in any aisles, by the way. I don't know if you can now, but the thing is, I hope you never find it. I hope what you end up finding is an aerosol can, because you thought that it was a spray and whatever, and I hope you spray it into your food. I hope you eat that food. Okay. I hope you get a stomachache. I hope you don't die. I hope you stay alive. No. I hope you stay alive, because it's very good to stay alive and feel the consequences of your bad decisions, bad food decisions. Okay, because there's something called long-term and there's something called short-term.
Okay. All right. So yes, Jackie can see why you're after the watershed. Yes, we did choose this time. But although, I mean, you know, for somebody watching in the United States, for example, who may have even asked this question in a Facebook group, it's this question here. It's only maybe 2 or 3 in the afternoon. Anyway, and to be in their defense, I want to say that they may well have been brainwashed by the enormous health/cooking lobby that had people believe that margarine was a useful thing.
All right, so you're a brainwashed twat. That's good. It's fine. It's not a problem. If you want to get brainwashed, if you've got a stick of butter over here, and then you've got something that I would not put in my vehicle called margarine, and you've decided that I can't believe it's butter is the solution for your culinary delight for that night, take it. Not a problem, because this is long term. This is you're going to kill yourself and the family long term. It's not going to happen very quickly, but when it happens, don't blame. Don't look around. Look at that can of oil spray and say you caused it.
Could we call it woke fat? Maybe
it is woke fat, but this has been around for a long time.
Right. Okay.
It has been. We've been slowly, I guess, waking up since this has been around since the, I think, 80s or 90s. So the thing is, it has been around for a long time.
And I'm a little bit more sort of compassionate, I think, on this, and I think people do get brainwashed and marketed to. However, on a more constructive and sort of practical basis, what you might recommend from a health and cooking point of view is use olive oil and use butter, and forget about all these so-called health oils.
Yes. Simply put, yes, you're too kind. But the thing is, simply put, remember one thing. Whenever you're going to use a spray can for anything like that, just for a minute, for a second, imagine I'm right behind you. I'm about to smack you in the back of your head for doing something stupid like that.
Your Zen chef teacher in the kitchen.
Exactly.
Is there anything that belongs in that rightly belongs in your kitchen that would be in an aerosol? I mean, presumably you wouldn't be a fan of the squirty cream, only in the bedroom and not in the kitchen.
Only in the bedroom after
Yes.
you've had a bit. And sometimes with the squirty cream, the excuse is that, okay, yeah, it's like, it's just got its elements. So yeah, only in certain kinky occasions. Other than that, leave that thing behind too.
Yes. Okay. So there's no place for anything sprayable.
Just whisk the bastard. What's the problem? How long does whisking take?
All right.
Whisk it.
Okay. All right. Okay. I love him. He's bloody fab. Why have you been hiding this little treasure? I haven't really been hiding you, have I? I don't think.
You've been high. This is it was as I may remind you, this was the breakup of our bond, Carl. This is what she's pointing to. I think people have clued into you.
The broken bromance that Coach Turner referred to earlier on.
Exactly.
Okay. I know this will excite Jackie because I don't think she was here when we first mentioned the chocolate festival at Obidos. You have your reservations about this. Jackie, do you fancy coming over to Portugal? Maybe getting a season ticket. I think this is right up your alley. And have you been to Obidos, Frank? Have you been into the castle there?
Yes, I've been to Obidos and the castle. Very, very, very classy joint. And this is what they like to do. They like to do like something that works very well in a festival, especially in Portugal in these kinds of settings, is wine, obviously, and cheese, and you've got like olive and all this kind of stuff with chocolate, because there's so many other people who do chocolate well in Europe. So Northern Europe, you've got Belgium, you've got the Swiss, you've got so many people doing it well. If you're going to bring it, just tell me what you're going to do. Is there a theme? Are you going to do a few different things? But as I said earlier, as I was saying, Jackie, if you are going to do the same stuff and an hour later, I've just had it at the festival, I've paid $5 for a small little bar with this little cream thing inside, and I've gone in the city and eaten something that was better than that, then I'm going to come back and I'm going to burn your festival down and your entire chocolate empire.
Yeah, it's not going to be cheap either. The Obidos know how to price events. They're among, I would say, some of the highest priced events to get into, like the Christmas fair, for example. Not bitter at all. Sold the cheese, give me the chocolate, says Jackie there. So she's quite excited about that. I've got a fabulous property to share with you. I was guest of the agency. Sure. And you would love this place. So I'm going to load that up to play. And I would like to know what you think of this fine residence on the market for 1.75 million.
Show it to me.
Well, what you do with it, I'm very interested to know. And maybe you've got some tips for young Ben. Do you remember? We went to a beer festival together, didn't we?
Of course, Benji. I love Benji.
And I think you're a kind of sort of mentor to him in a way, aren't you?
Yes, well? I mentored him through quite a few glasses of proper beer. Drinking like a man was one of my quotes.
Ah, that's right. It wasn't. I don't think you and I have been together at the Strong Beers Festival. I do recommend that in Coimbra, and that's where the wonderful. Oh, what is it there? That lovely brewery. No, not Praxis. Praxis is there, but our friends over the road, whose name escapes me now, but there's some. This will be great. This is happening this weekend.
Do you think this poster was designed by AI?
No, it's been like they've had it like this for 2 or 3 years.
Oh, already. Okay, all right, okay. It looks too slick.
Yeah, you like it. I mean, are you thinking for like real ale? It needs to be a bit more rustic than that.
It needs to be a little rustic. You can't have like 3 cartoons standing around and a guy with a bad haircut in the middle. It needs to be. It needs to be. So look at that. That's very nice.
You're giving design advice as well tonight. So, and we're a bit light on questions, I have to say. So Frank's here. Frank's back, and he's franker than ever. If you've got any questions at all about moving to or living in Portugal or life in general, stick them in the chat or send them to me. If it's something personal that you don't want to air, Hey, Peter Bleach, we were talking about you. Good morning, Frank and Carl from Kyoto. He's in Kyoto at the moment.
Pete, how are you?
Yeah,
Pete, is it in the middle of the day over there and you're listening to the broadcast? Your dedication. I love that, brother. Hope you're doing well. Hope the wife is doing well. Miss you guys.
There you go. I want, where were we before Pete interrupted us there? Oh, yes, you're giving out advice. You're like an agony uncle. I'll help as well. I might be able to sort of temper Frank's passion a little bit. So whatever's grinding gears about life, Portugal, or even the way the world is headed, these are uncertain times. And I'm sure you've got one or two things to say about that, Frank. Stick them in the chat. Or, if you want to be anonymous, send it to 913-590-303, and I won't give out your identity on air if that's what you're concerned about. If you're afraid that Frank might be a bit too queijo with your question. And let's talk for a moment then, before we go to that lovely bit of footage of the house that I was at, 1.75 million this afternoon with the agency. Coimbra on a plate. Have you got any feedback for Ben here? Regional Portuguese food in a fine dining environment. What would you suggest then to Ben for an event of this kind?
It's very creative and it's very innovative of Benji. But Benji is he does bartending as well. He does quite a few different amazing things for us. For a young guy, he's very proactive and he does some very good stuff. I still haven't tasted his food, but I've looked at some of his food and it looks very nice. It's just the effort that he puts into it. My thing is that only I guess if there was a thing to give, what is that don't go after styling the plate too much. First, put the food on the plate and then think about styling it. So go for the food, make the food be the saucy, the beautiful, the captivating aspect. The styling will come along.
Okay, so don't let content overcome. Don't let the form overcome the content, I think is what you're suggesting.
Because you'll put all that effort into designing the plate and whatever, and if the people say, all right, it tastes like crap, then what are you going to do, Benji? So the thing is that give yourself, do the food, taste it. Remember one thing, as you're cooking, you taste everything. You give it like, oh God, it's getting there. Oh, this is so sexy. This is unbelievable.
It sounds like a sexual experience, but I suppose that's the embedded advice into you.
That is this is the motion.
Yeah,
it's not the other motion. It's this motion.
Gimme. Right. Hello to you, Shiblu Ahmed, who's joining us.
Hello, Shiblu. What's going on?
We have a question. Jackie thinks we'd be great, the two of us with the Portuguesa, three-way with the Portuguesa, and
three-way. Okay.
You can visit me anytime, Frank, and I will make you sweets, all yours as a gift. Question:
Thank you so very much.
Do you do home visits?
I do home visits, depending on how far away you are from my home.
Okay. Is anyone else hearing a strange acoustic with Frank? I don't know if you developed a new kind of circus skill, but occasionally when you're speaking, it sounds like you're passing wind simultaneously as you're speaking.
It's a trick. It's something. It's an essence that I wanted to bring to the show, and I'm glad you noticed. Thank you so very much. I've been working very hard on it. This was an effect I was working on the entire day, and I felt during this show it would be appropriate to bring it out. So if it's working, then
Pete,
you're welcome.
Jackie, can you hear that? You're a star, she says. Thank you, Carl, for bringing him on. Right, okay, I want you to have a look at this wonderful bit of video. I mean, the video is okay, and thank goodness I found the stabilization button on my video camera, which people will be glad to hear, I think, after watching some of my videos. Finally, I found a little bit of stabilization effect influence on the video, and I was able to use it to good effect here this afternoon in Lourinhã, which I think is a brilliantly up-and-coming place in Portugal. Not many people know about it. Few people are getting into it. It is fantastic. This is amazing property. Thanks, Durta, from the agency who invited me along. Went along with Colin, and this is what we saw today. Well, this looks all right, doesn't it? We're in Lourinhã, which I think is an amazing location, and something's happening over in this part of Portugal. Obviously, we're at the high end here today, at the invitation of the agency. Look at this, a viewing of this fabulous property here. These are suites that you can stay at in this incredible location. I'll show you the view that they have in a moment. But isn't that beautiful? Very nice indeed. Barbecue area over there. And as I swing around here, that's looking out to sea now, over in that direction. And then look, they have this view. Well, that's a yoga deck down there, possibly. And a valley here where you could install a vineyard. And I believe I'm going to pop down there in just a moment, but beyond this gentleman on the yoga deck here, there's a little gate, and that takes you down to the beachfront and the ocean, which is just beyond the trees over there. But isn't that lovely? Isn't that incredible? The rooms are really wonderful. They're all open out onto the pool here. Very, very nice. Oh, there's an upper deck up there as well. Thank you, the agency and Dorta, who invited us here today to take a look. But it's a little bit too cold today to jump in and cause a bit of a splash, as it were, here. Isn't that nice? What do you think of that?
Oh, this is so beautiful. And you know what I love about this place as I was watching it is they, you know, for the first day they allowed the homeless people to come around and take a walk through the house, right? Isn't that beautiful?
Very thoughtful.
That's wonderful. This guy is really doing some charity work. It's beautiful.
Look at it.
Oh, it was open house. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to. This is very good. So it was people walking around to check the house out. Were people flown in from other places?
Of course they were. It was like being in a Netflix series. There were some really stylish and sexy people there. Me and Colin among them, obviously chosen for our kind of alpha male sexuality and
well, of course,
ambiance, I suppose.
Your male bred attraction, where you stood around and you said, "Come hither."
Yeah, that sort of thing. 7 bedrooms, 8 bathrooms. And to me, Frank, it looks like you and I could create the Club Tropicana video. Not just there for a song length, but there as a lifestyle, right? Drinks are free.
Absolutely.
People staying in those 7 bedrooms, and we give them a 5-star holiday here in your cooking.
Only thing is, I refuse to be Andrew Ridgeley.
I don't mind being Andrew Ridgeley. You're going to be George, are you?
Of course.
Okay, I don't mind that. I don't mind being Andrew to your George, but that could be amazing, couldn't it? Us putting on Club Tropicana.
That'll be amazing. It's I guess towards the outside of town, right?
It's Lorigna. Yeah, it's away from the main town, but it's only like 10 minutes drive into Lorigna.
All kissing. All kidding aside, I don't want to piss in anyone's cornflakes. I think that it looks like a beautiful property. I believe that someone who can afford it, I believe that someone who can cherish this kind of property, and it looks like it's wonderful. It'd be great for a nice family towards the outside, because someone has to buy it, right? And someone has to love it.
No, really, I think our Club Tropicana retreat idea, my idea is the best one so far for this property. It is made for entertaining. You've got the 7 bedrooms, you've got the 8 bathrooms, more bathrooms than anyone would want, really. Yeah, unique villa with sea views on the
more bathrooms, the better.
All we need, Frank, given our respective talents and ideas.
Club Tropicana drinks are free.
Exactly. Little karaoke by the pool. And
just look for everyone.
Yeah,
that's missing in the sea, Carlito. Come on, give it to me, Andy. Don't just play the wavy guitar, the guitar that's not linked in, Andy.
I'm doing my Andrew thing. I'm just being cute to one side of you, okay? That's all that's required in the Ridgeley part, I think. All we need for this project to happen is 1.75 million from an investor who wants to get behind us. And by that, I mean financially. Right. Yeah. Okay, we're coming into the last quarter, I think, of the show. Very light on questions. You know, you've got the chance here to speak to Frank, franker than ever, get life advice, get Portugal advice. He's here. I mean,
do it right now. I'm here.
One night only at this rate, isn't it? And lovely to make your acquaintance, Shiblu, but a question would be great.
Hey, Shiblu, come on, give it to us. Give us a nice one.
Yeah,
ask us a nice question.
So perhaps in our last 20 minutes or so here, Frank, it would be elephant in the room stuff not to comment on what's going on in the world politically. The Portuguese government is about to collapse and implode with a new election in May. And that is just a tiny reflection, isn't it? A ripple on this side of the pond in relation to what's going on the other side of the pond. What do you make of what's going on in the world at the moment?
As you said, as you aptly put, Carlito, as you always do, it's you are going to feel it on this side, and you're going to feel it in these countries. I don't think Spain will get it as much as Portugal, but Portugal will get it. I think that I don't know if you remember. Let me take you back a few years, 5 or 6 years ago, when you first arrived over here. Let me ask you this question: the Chega Party.
Yeah.
All right. If somebody told you that this Chega Party was going to have members members in Parliament who were going to do well, and they are going to win, and they're going to get votes and stuff like that, you would have laughed me out of the room. We would have been like, there's no chance. This coalition, this strong coalition we've got, the way this country is going after the history with Salazar and everything else, there's no way this was going to happen in this country. But it's happening, isn't it? First, that Chega guy, his posters were all over the town. And he would, like, you would look at him, he looked like a mean bastard, and you would be like, there's no way I'm voting for you, sir. I'll keep on driving. I'll vote for the next beautiful person in there. And it was our previous prime minister. But this guy, no way. So yes, we are getting there. I think we will end up getting there. I think we may become a semi Italy, like a Meloni kind of deal, because people are fed up. When you talk to people, people are fed up, but they don't know what they're fed up of. This is the problem. And what they end up doing is the way that these campaigns or these parties, they direct them, is that they always direct it towards the immigrants. They always direct it towards the poor people. They always direct it towards the guy who's just come over here to pick a few oranges or do something menial like that. It's never about pick on the big guy. They never make you do that, and it's so sad. So parties like Chega survive on this. This is the oxygen that they require, sadly, and this is the elephant in the room, isn't it? This is what everyone's scared of.
Perhaps is it? I don't know if anyone else is hearing the sound quality coming, or lack of it coming from you, Frank, or if it's just me, that's fine. But if it is coming out on the broadcast output, do let me know, because it is getting worse. And so what you've just described as the microcosm for Portugal and the rise of Chega, and the Portuguese folks that I was just talking to earlier this evening, are saying that this new election will only probably mean more Chega seats and popularity. Do you see that as a reflection of what's going on the other side of the Atlantic?
Yes. This is going to be a coalition of a few European countries that will fit the balance of what's going on the other side. Sadly, or not so sadly, depending on what side of the coin you're on. As long as there's some. Sorry, Jackie. I'm going to work on it. This is brand new.
Really? And is it fully charged?
It's brand new, and it's a big corporation too. So we will never get sponsorship from them. So I can't name it.
We don't want sponsorship for them if that's what they're
No, it's a big company. Don't. They even own studios. Don't even talk about it. Sorry, I'm just gonna get in like it starts with an S and ends with a Y. And I'm like very surprised. It's not cheap. It's really a nice one.
I don't know what's happening. There may be some sort of mismatch between your headset and your laptop. We can't necessarily blame your headgear and your microphone. Okay, so what's the prognosis then? What do you think? Do you think is going to happen? For me, I think the likes of these political parties and political characters we're talking about, and the feelings among people that you describe of people thinking there's something up, but they don't quite know what it is or how to articulate it. I think that's symptomatic and not causal. I think that's part of a grander unrest and pre-transformational phase for humanity. So whilst it can look pretty grim and lacking in hope, I think there's a dawn coming, which doesn't include a remix of this current nonsense, but something entirely new. Would you concur with that, or are we just going to go into further political swings? Basically, we're going to go to populism, and we're going to go to some sort of strong totalitarian types of regimes that will make people uncomfortable, but it will bring some sort of order back, and then we'll go to more liberal times again. Is this just going to go round and round in circles, or is there some sort of transformational and evolutionary updraft as well as the left and right back and forth?
Here's the thing: the reins were given to the left, and when the reins were given to the left, they were ably given for them to do a good job. They promised something, and they ended up not keeping up with the promise. They really shat the bed on this one. And when they did this kind of a job, after what they've done, and especially after the wokeism and everything else, all these different things that they've added to our vocabulary, once they've done this kind of a job, people got scared. What else do you expect them to do? So the left has done a horrible job for themselves. They have really killed it. And I kind of
here
feel,
in Portugal, because you can't say that in UK, can you? In the UK or in Canada, your native Canada, it hasn't been the left really in power, has it?
the left has been in power. Justine Timberlake, he has been in power for the past 8 years and whatever, and Canada is unrecognizable.
But isn't that like a sort of social democracy rather than a socialism? I mean, I don't know enough about it, but
I'll simplify it. It's a bunch of, under the guise of democracy, under the guise of taking things forward. Some rich people had their agendas to basically shove down our throats. Stuff like COVID, stuff like so many different things that they managed to shove down people's throat. So they ended up doing that. People got upset. People felt that their voices were not being heard. There's a huge element of the society, their voice was not being heard. The idea about liberalism is what? I speak, then I allow you to speak, and then we get together, we come to a consensus. And that never happened. It was all shoved down our throats. So now guess what's going to happen? It's the other way around. It's going to get shoved down our throats because the other side is very pissed. They are in power, and what they want to have is they want to have a European coalition. If there is a coalition, and remember this, if there's a coalition of 5 or 6, not major but traditional Portuguese countries that get together with the other side, things can go upside down very quickly. As pragmatic.
Wait a minute, because you mean European, not Portuguese?
European.
Yeah, okay. So run that past me again. You think there might be a coalition of what right-leaning European countries who create some sort of coalition and a dictatorial power base?
Yes. And between them, what they will do is you will have like a BRICS kind of a thing between these European countries. What they will do is they will stand up and they'll say what they will use is values. We stand for values. What we stand for is so many amazing things that these guys did not stand for. We stand for what societies should be, and they anti-immigration. So many different things that they will go for. The problem is the guy who comes from with his raft from Africa, or the guy who comes from a Middle Eastern country. Those are the problems. So we got to stop them, and we are going to keep our purity. So it's these kinds of countries. We already have it. We already have a Viktor Orban. We already have a Giorgia Meloni. We already have that guy in Poland. We already have 1 or 2 other guys around, and this will continue. unless some common sense prevails. Because the shift once again with, like, let's say a liberal country. What will happen is those liberal countries are looking at this, and it's not that they are reaching out; they are going even further. They're going this way, and it's not helping. It's not helping. It's not helping the common people like you and I.
Okay, well, so the final question tonight would be, what is? So, as I understand it, then what you're talking about is a dictatorial left giving way to a dictatorial right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So
and in between, all these people who are in between get screwed over.
Yes. Okay. So the question then is, how might they not be? What's the system that represents those people, that has people have their views, that discomfort that you talked about earlier on? People are uncomfortable, but they don't quite know what it is or what to do about it. How is that heard? How is that managed? How is that represented? And how do we get to a saner, less centralized but more representative system for the betterment of human societies? That's a big question, isn't it?
It's a $1 million question.
Yes.
I think this is the silent majority. I think that this majority has always wanted to be silent because they could cope under any kind of system. Because regardless of who comes in, they squeeze their voice anyways. These folks will never stand up. I hope they do. They will never stand up for themselves because they're like, just like, you know what, I'll manage with the guy, with the bully on the right. I'll manage with the idiot on the left, and we'll work with it. And I just want to feed my family. I just want to do something nice for my family or whatever.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So and what "'twas ever thus and forever will be," is that what you're suggesting?
Yes, and it will continue. There will be these clashes. These helmets will strike, and after that, the little guy underneath, will stand, and they will be like, "Well, I hope he didn't fall. It's a good thing he didn't fall on me. It was just helmets." So I think this will sadly continue for a short while. We've got another decade and a half of transition to come.
Oh, okay. So something, a tangible sort of forecast there, if that's not a contradiction in terms. You think this period of uncertainty, possible unrest, is going to be for a decade or so?
But it's decade or so is being very positive. I think that decade and a half, at least, for things to turn around again, for things to go common sense, where people can breathe again, where we can be away from the vocabulary smashing people, and we can be away from these other dictators coming in and saying, make Europe great again.
Yeah, it's a somewhat unusual position you're taking, and I'm also a little disappointed to hear that all that it points to after 15 years is a kind of acceptable mediocrity. But I guess it's like, it's better than the extremes you're talking about on each of the sides. But you're quite unusual, I think, in as much as you're not identifying with the vocabulary bashers or the far right. Often in conversation, we're finding that we're dealing with one or other of those, aren't we, rather than the silent majority you refer to in the middle. But do you have it then that most people are in that silent majority and not in those extremes?
Most people are. They don't give a toss, and most people, sometimes they are forced to take a side, depending. Sometimes when you're at a party and there are 15 to 16 people, and you are the 2 or 3 people who might have different views. What are you going to do? You're going to come out and you're going to say, "Oh, excuse me, I have something to say." They will all look at you. They will take your wine away. They'll give you a nice boot in the ass, and they'll be like, "Get the hell out of my party."
What, socially, if not actually?
Socially, and if not actually. And if you live in that neighborhood, this is a small example. This is folks who are just at the party. So I just came over here for a drink. I just came over here for a glass or 2 of wine to listen to some nice music and whatever. So it's the other thing that's the scary part of this is that when the crazy people start getting the megaphones, and they start blasting it, and they start thinking that whatever comes out of their mouth is very smart. And no one speaks smarter than me. They don't even know the geography of the area that they live in, but they're going to proudly bark it out. That I don't care. I don't even know my address, but I know where I live. It's right there. So it's you will have people like that. Sadly, I'm drawing. I know a very sad picture.
You cheered me right up tonight.
Yeah, yeah. It's. I'm drawing a very sad picture, but it is where we are right now. It's not a good place. But we need to carry on with the flame of being the folks who are cheerful, who still go around and look at people and say, to the bay, regardless of what kind of flag you've got, regardless of what you're doing, regardless of how many dogs you've got, regardless of what kind of pronoun you want to use, which I will never use, and regardless of all that other nonsense. So, sorry.
Interesting. Okay, I'm a little more hopeful, I have to say. Not that I don't think there might be quite a lot of upheaval and challenge to be faced in the next few years, perhaps the decade and a half that you speak of. But I think it's got to give way to something more useful, elevated, evolved, you might say, than flogging this dead horse that we seem to be at the moment. And the worst sort of idea really of trying to breathe life back into the dead horse, which it seems to be, one of the options, the options of either far left or far right at the moment. I think there's a transcendent. I agree with you. I think probably most people do find themselves in the middle now, and unrepresented, and uncared for. However, I'm not sure that they need perish there. I hope what's going to happen is there's going to be some sort of transcendent possibility that emerges. The phoenix, if you like, from the ashes of this current system, which is just being ground into the ground, isn't it? At the moment, that's what it's being worked to death. It's being broken by itself at the moment, and that's what we're seeing in real time in front of our very eyes, I think, right now.
Yeah. It's going to happen. It's going to get dark before there's any kind of brightness, because it has to show you've already gone and swallowed the disinfectant from the can. So at some point you're going to see the results, and the results are you're going to get a stomachache. It's not going to be good. You're going to be in bed for a few days, but then you're going to wake up. And then once you wake up, you will never use the can of aerosol, and you will go and use your butter stick and whatever. Do you see? Do you like how
I see what you did there? Now, talking of cans, my final question, it seems a bit mundane compared to what we were speaking about. I just drank a beer from a can. Is that permissible? I as kids, we probably used to drink beer more from a can than we did in any other kind of receptacle. People will say aluminium is not a great medium for food. What's your view on drinking beer from tins and cans?
It's a thing of necessity. If it's around, if you're taking, here's the thing. If you're taking that train from London, Victoria to Glasgow, to Glasgow, so the 4-hour train, or to Brighton, right?
Yeah.
If you're taking that train and you've got like an hour to 2 or 3 or 4 hours to kill and whatever, and you've got like a few beers with you, and it's going to be in a can, you had to get it, and you're drinking it, you're having a good time, it's fine. But if you want to have a better experience, then it has to be a bottle. I have to say that I've done both, of course, as you have, as many have, but it's the bottle. What do you think? What's your call on it?
I just saw it and fancied it. I like in the way people think Coke tastes better from a bottle than it does from a can.
Yeah,
I agree with that, and I think they do taste different. I just think sometimes a beer from a can, a cold can, is nice. So I don't know why I did that, but I did that tonight. I just wondered what
it's sexy, because one thing that you see is that when it's cold, you bring it out of the fridge, and it's when you hold it in your hand, you're just like, I am holding this beauty in my hand, and as you're drinking it, it's beautiful. It is nice. I understand.
we're at an hour. That's the end of the show. Apart from perhaps a last word from you and a review of whether we should do this again. I think you've got at least one fan in the form of Jackie here. What would you
One
need?
person who said, Jackie, bless you.
What would you want or need to grace our screens again at the same time next week?
I want nothing. I just want bromance with Carlito. That's the only thing I'm looking for. You know,
we could have just had a Zoom call. It didn't need to be a live stream.
Yeah, but everybody wants to watch that Zoom call because the thing is, we have our bromance is sexy. Everyone needs to take a little bit of the sap from the sexiness.
Okay, you're very welcome, everybody. Hope you enjoyed the sap from our sexiness this evening. Oh, I know what you're like by way of an end to the show. Here's a nice little reminder of Portugal's cheeky position in the world. I'm going to share with you. Do you remember when President Trump met for the first time Marcelo, the president of Portugal?
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember that video?
There was that funny handshake.
Handshake. Shall I play the handshake?
Yeah. Play the handshake.
All right. Thank you, Frank. Hopefully, see you again.
You're welcome.
Next week. Take care.
We shall hopefully.
Oh, hold on a minute. A last comment. Is this a fan here from Kyoto? And Frank, please come back next week. So there you go. That'll do nicely, won't it?
Thank you, Jackie. I'll do my best.
Mr. President, any comment on Justice Kennedy? Any comment on Justice Kennedy, sir?